This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. As I've been saying on this channel for quite some time, we are seeing a rise once again in the occult, in society, in the mainstream media, in movies and television, in the entertainment business, in music. And one of those shows that is really known for predictive programming, one of these shows which most people would look at and say is fiction, actually reveals a lot of what is going on behind the scenes, a lot of what the occult actually is into and does. And of course, the rise in witchcraft and witches, which I've been talking about, which isn't necessarily a rise because this has been going on. It's just been hidden and then brought into plain sight by Disney, by Harry Potter and all this stuff, this indoctrination that's been going on. But one of those shows is American Horror Story. Now, I've covered American Horror Story many times over, from Roanoke to Coven, to show after show after show, which is showing predictive programming, to the season that they just had, Cult, which is filled with the honeybee mindset, the cult mindset, which is doing predictive programming with Donald Trump. So this show, which pretty much just gets renewed automatically for obvious reasons, because it has a cult-like following, but also because they want predictive programming like this out there all the time, is now coming out with another season about witches. That's right, witches, which I've been saying even recently, been talking about how we're seeing a rise in witches, and they are indoctrinating people and brainwashing people into thinking that it's cool to be a witch, and they're using women's empowerment with this and the feminist movement. You could see that the creator of the show tweeted that this year, Season 8, Witches Rule, this September. And everybody's all giddy for the return of the witches. Okay, and I've covered this many times over, the show, which is, they actually on Coven and on Roanoke, they show, Lady Gaga, of course, is in that. They show the Baphomet. They show these rituals that are done, these blood rituals and these child sacrifice rituals, and how, they feed off of blood and these spells to remain youthful. And they do these ceremonies, during blood moons and full moons and all this stuff. This is all stuff that really goes on. And they're just indoctrinating people. So it says, after much speculation, Ryan Murphy has finally revealed what he, the Wizard of Prestige, has been hiding behind his velvet curtain. And it's witches, lots of witches. Murphy confirmed the theme for the 8th season of his Emmy-winning anthology series American Horror Story in a tweet this afternoon. He started out with a message with a little tease before getting right into the news that Coven and Murder House American Horror Story crossover season won't be happening next year. He teased, adding, because it's happening this year, American Horror Story number 8, Witches Rule, this September. So this is how predictive programming works. I mean, show after show after show, right? You would think that when we're trying to wake people up and we're talking to people about a rise in witchcraft or about just witches and magic in general, that people would say, oh yeah, well that makes sense, right? But instead they go, you're out of your mind. You're a crazy Christian. Meanwhile, every show, for the most part, that is out there is promoting witchcraft and sorcery. Look at all these shows that are about witchcraft, right? From Charm to The Craft, the movie. And these are just off the top of my head. And I'm not even, you could mention the Disney movies, but I mean, every Disney cartoon is pretty much about magic, right? I mean, people see Beauty and the Beast and they think it's about love, but it's really about what? The magic rose that's involved, Cinderella, the magic slipper, right? Snow White and the magic apple and the magic mirror, right? These are all things that are just constantly being beaten into people's head. Oh, Harry Potter, which is, I could never sit through that, but I can't imagine how parents and kids sit through that kind of crap. But people think it's cool, right? Oh, and Harry Potter, get your sword, right? What is it called? Get your wand, and they're selling wands to kids. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing, right? All this is going on, but then when you talk to them about witchcraft, about witches being real, even Christians who are supposed to be Bible-believing Christians who ignore verses in the Bible about witches, whether it's Exodus, right? The quotes that I read the other day, right? Exodus chapter 22, verse 18, thou shalt not suffer a witch to live. I mean, there's many verses. 2 Chronicles 33:6, and he caused his children to pass through the fire in the valley of the son of Hinnom. Also, he observed times and used enchantments and used witchcraft and dealt with a familiar spirit and with wizards. He wrought much evil in the sight of the Lord to provoke him to anger, right? Which shows you how angry our Father feels towards witchcraft and sorcery and these things that we are forbidden to do. Galatians chapter 5, verses 19 through 21, the acts of the flesh are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity, debauchery, idolatry, and witchcraft, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissensions, factions, drunkenness, orgies, and the like. I warn you, as I did before, that those who live like this will not inherit the kingdom of God. I mean, there's many verses that speak of it, right? But people still ignore it, even though it's right in our faces. So what they're going to do, and this is, I guarantee you, because the show Coven really, it focused on groups of witches who supposedly survived the Salem witch trials, okay, and were alive still today because they don't age, they don't die, they have immortality, all this stuff. But it really was pushing women's empowerment. That's really what they were pushing towards it, or with it, I should say. And now with all this stuff with Me Too, what a coincidence that they're bringing it back. That they're bringing it back and they're combining it with another show, and it's going to be about witches galore and feminism galore, while you have all the stuff I've covered this week with, Argento and McGowan, openly admitting to being witches. The stuff I covered last year about how witches were gathering to cast spells on Donald Trump, and they were doing monthly spell binding and spell casting rituals on people. I mean, it's unbelievable how out in the open this is, but how people still will come, they'll comment, they'll see this stuff, and they'll go, you're out of your mind. Oh, Christians and witchcraft. Because what they've done is they've created this image that this is cool. That witchcraft and being a witch is cool. They want girls, they want young girls, and they want women, teenage girls, women, young women, to embrace this, to seek it out, to say, maybe I'll dabble in this. Maybe it'll be fun. Maybe it'll be helpful, right? And then they talk about, using sages and doing all sorts of things that can bring peace and inner peace and spirituality into your lives. This is how they brainwash people. And then what they do, they'll flip it the other way when they show Christians. They'll show Christians who are, standing outside with signs that say so-and-so or certain people deserve this or deserve that. Hatred, bigotry, right? And then they'll show, cookie cutter Christians with their sweaters on, looking like dorks, and the characters in the show, like, they'll have a Christian character. You can't kiss the girl. I can't kiss the girl because I'm Christian, The Bible says don't. Like, they have all these shows that make us look like complete buffoons for a reason, right? They glorify this. They project this onto people as being cool and hip. And then they make Christianity look like a complete joke, like complete dorks, like complete losers, right? And that's why I don't understand why there's so many people, even on YouTube, who continue to emulate the image that the televised evangelists have put on and put out there and projected, right? They want that. That's part of mind control. They want this cookie cutter mindset still, where everybody is preaching acceptance and tolerance and, prosperity teaching and all that type of stuff. They want that, and people are still emulating it. So the two people who created the show, and the people who co-starred in, and Kathy Bates is going to be returning. All of these witches who are real life, actual witches are going to be in it. And they also suggest that Lady Gaga will also be in it again. Lady Gaga, remember I did that video and I showed how she played pretty much, was dressed as the Baphomet. She was some type of witch wizard. I mean, it's unbelievable. It is unbelievable. But remember, this is how they do it. They continue to release programming month after month. It's about the same exact stuff. When the music videos are about the same symbols and signs, right? With the black and white and the all-seeing eyes everywhere for the wannabe optometrists and, symbol after symbol. The shows are constantly the same as well. They're all promoting witchcraft, and nobody sees it. Nobody sees it. And like I said earlier, American Horror Story is the show that they're using for predictive programming, because they are revealing what they do. They're revealing their agendas, just like last season I said cult. I covered that as well, about mind control, about Donald Trump. They were trying to almost create civil unrest and all this nonsense. And there's so much other stuff that went on in that show. from the things that I read. But you had the season about the clowns, and then we had the clown epidemic that occurred where everyone was dressing as a clown. I mean, it's unbelievable how in our faces this stuff is, but people look at it and they go, no, it's just a cool show I get entertained by. You get influenced by it. You get programmed by it. On an unconscious level, you are being programmed. So, like the article says, like they're saying, it's the year of the witch, or the season of the witch is upon us. In September, they'll be rolling out another show that promotes witches, that makes them look great, while the feminist movement is the top agenda right now with all these women who just so happen to be a part of this Time's Up movement coming forward, admitting to being witches. Must be a coincidence, right? Give me an absolute break. What is it going to take to shake some sense into people? People need to become aware of this. They need to understand what's going on. There is a rise in witches, just like we've read about in the history of the world, of our country, about these witches and being cast out, right? They weren't casting them out because they didn't like the way they looked, or just because they had a disagreement with what their belief system was. They were dangerous. They were doing things. There was a lot of children involved, okay? You know what I mean from that standpoint. And this stuff is just being promoted all over the place, and people continue to turn a blind eye. Thank you for listening to today's show. God bless all of you and your families.